Right, this is my take on the Fablemans, a movie released last year, 2022, directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's based loosely on his life as a child and as a young adult. He's part of a Jewish family. His mother, Mitzi, is played by Michelle Williams. She's a former concert pianist and now has taught a little of her skill. The boy, Sammy, who effectively plays Steven Spielberg, his father is Bert, played by Paul Dano. Bert's works for tech companies. He's a bit of a scientist, and as a hobby, he shoots some home movies. And then they decide to take Sammy, played by Meteor Zora, on Francis Deford. What a mouthful. To the theatre. The movie is the greatest show on earth, and Sammy's struck by the spectacular train crash that occurs in the movie when the train collides with a car on the track, and this also involves a collision with another stationary train, and this leads to Sammy's interest in recreating the experience, the visual, and his desire to become creative with a camera. And he shortly receives a train set as a present, and immediately recreates the scene, the crash, which doesn't go down too well, but it actually adds to the feeling, the view, that this was the beginning of this man's creative genius, which had led to all those amazing movies that he's directed. There are two other key characters in this movie. The friend of the family, Benny, seems to be he's Bert's best friend, but he's played by Seth Rogen, and he's around most of the time, has become part of the furniture, and his presence becomes very critical a little bit further on. Bert's a good husband and father, but a bit unexciting, whereas Benny is full of exuberance, and this becomes an issue with regard to Mitzi. And then shortly into the movie, we also receive a visit from the uncle in the family, Uncle Boris. And Uncle Boris is played by Judd Hirsch. And there's an amazing scene where Boris talks with Sammy about his desire to make movies, and equates that with Boris's love as a circus performer and storyteller, and encourages Sammy to go 100% into this desire to gain the maximum from the experience. Oh, Jesus. So this family is a Jewish family. We start off in 1962 with the visit to the theatre to see The Greatest Show on Earth, which I referred to earlier, and then he receives this train set at Hanukkah, a Jewish celebration day, and he's only 8 at the time. And although it generates a little bit of frustration in his father, he goes with the flow, based on Mitzi's view that at least he's having fun. So that then sparks the beginning of making home movies. and we see Sammy capturing this a lot with his friends. These are silent movies, of course, and with his family. Uh, there's a scene where he wants to film an actual real tornado and gets all the family in the car to take him out to, but unfortunately they're a bit late and the rainstorm prevents him getting out and filming the tornado as it moves over the land. But it again reflects how Sammy's determined to take on so-called dangerous stunts. And we all know about some of those in Spielberg's movies. And we then, this family then are in the family moved to Phoenix. This is to accommodate a promotion for Bert, and Uncle Benny follows in tow, albeit reluctantly from Bert's point of view, but the pressure on the family to include him in this move is strong. We then saunter into adolescence, and we witness Sammy at his high school, and elements that creep into the script are the attention of his peer group, who are bordering on the bullying type, and there's also an element of anti-Semitism. We then also witness another movie that captures the imagination of the young Sammy, and that's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. And so they go and watch that, and that acts as an inspiration to Sammy to copy some of the scenes from that movie. And the costs become an issue to the father. He's a little bit scalding of his son for spending vast amounts of money on his hobby, although Sammy insists that it's not a hobby, it's a means to an end, an investment in his future. We then have a scene where they're at a campfire, and Sammy wants to film as his mother gets up in her nightdress and starts to dance in view of the poor light. To capture a better light, the headlights of the car are turned on, and this has a rather impactful on the group watching, because they can see right through Mitzi's nightgown and see her naked curves. And this incident is also viewed by Benny, which is not impactful later. Now, Mitzi's mother passes as we proceed, and she later has an incident where she believes that her mother is contacting her from beyond the grave via a telephone call, and it makes her feel very warm. This reflects on the fact that she's finding it very difficult and feels that there's something missing in her life, which again hooks into the role of Benny in the movie. I've referred to Uncle Boris's arrival at the family home. The adults, Mitzi and Bert are somewhat apprehensive upon his arrival, and feel that he could well be there for good, but not the case. He stays briefly and has this impactful conversation with young Sammy about living his desires and being sort of creative. And we then move on to and the influence of the circus, of course, is substantial on this. We then move on to the crucial scene in the movie where Sammy is developing film that he shot uh, at a family sort of gathering, and on close inspection, when Benny is hugging his mother, Mitzi, he notes that Benny has also caressed her breasts, and she seems accommodating to this, so that this puts the seed in Sammy's head that there's something between them, which of course is a threat to the family and the marriage of his mother and father. And we also take note of some of the special effects that Sammy is starting to explore in his cine movie career. There's then a confrontation of sorts between Sammy and his mother, and she becomes aware that he is aware of her perhaps desire for Benny, but he promises not to tell, and following his mother in tears. They then moved to California for another upgrade in his career, but Benny is left behind, and this then traumatizes Mitzi considerably, and we then see the situation deteriorate when Bert finds out of this desire that his wife has for Benny, and the inevitable is filing for divorce. And this is touched upon quite thoroughly, and the impact on the family. We also have lots of scenes at the high school involving his peer group, bullying examples, violence of a minimal kind, and also one of the main culprits in this behaviour towards Sammy is a guy called Logan, who's very much seen as the guy that the girls all want, and he has a girlfriend, but he has a tendency to stray, and Sammy witnesses this, and at a later incident where Logan and his gang are terrorising Sammy in front of Logan's so-called girlfriend, he leaks out to her about Logan's indiscretion with another girl that Sammy witnesses. We also see Sammy develop a relationship of sorts with Monica, who's a Bible basher, and of course Sam is a Jew, and that brings out issues about Jesus. Monica has a sort of shrine in her bedroom with pictures of Jesus everywhere, and one gets the feeling that possibly they might indulge in their first sexual experience, but we don't see that, and it doesn't happen. And what then later takes place is that Monica splits from Sam when she becomes aware of how he views a possible move away to California. We then witness a final scene, which basically seals the deal with regard to Sam's future, and this runs alongside the fact that his mother has decided to return to Phoenix to be with Benny, and his father is then left alone to bring up the children, well, principally Sammy. And we then get this final scene where Sam gets an opportunity to go for some advice at this office connected with movie making, and he gets to meet the legendary director John Ford, famous for his westerns. And there's this concluding chat where Ford gives specific advice about her horizons in the picture that he captures, and he says that to see the horizon at the top and bottom of the frame is good, but in the middle is just not going to work. And this little bit of advice seals the deal in Sammy's desire to continue his movie career. And that's it. This final sort of scene with the advice puts into perspective the message of the movie is that people need to figure out who they are and then decide what they want to put into their life and go for it, which brings in the most happiness. And that's the message really behind this. And the parents, to a greater or lesser extent, enabled Sammy, the young Spielberg, to do that in the light of him being a Jew, subject to bullying, subject to anti-Semitism at high school, and of course the impact that his parents' separation and divorce had on him in teenage life, but he still walked forward with his desire to get involved in the movie business.